my thoughts have been moving towards flight arrows and flight bows. Now you could make your life's work trying to make good flight arrows. I might tinker with a couple of my old flight bows, maybe refurbish them when the weather's nicer. So you can see what we've got here is they're both Mollegabet style, you know, they've got stiff outer levers, and one is rather heavy and chunky, made out of hickory, with the growth rings running sort of back to belly. You can sort of see it there, hopefully. And the other one is very handsome, delicate yew sapwood back. I think it's a yew heartwood belly. Although at one point I thought it was pear or something. I think it is yew, but it's a very pretty little bow. They shoot similar distances, and I was under the impression that the yew belly one had actually crizzled, which is that's what you call compression fractures. But I've had a careful look and a careful feel, and I can't see anything. A couple of tiny little pinches where there's knots, but I think that might be worth giving another outing, maybe relieving the arrow path. Now the other one, hickory one, was supposedly centre shot, and hopefully you can see the crizzles, these lines. It's slightly angled. It's funny, crizzles are normally at sort of an angle like that, I don't know why, but these on this limb, and I can feel them with my fingernail. So this one's basically shot out. There we go, they're showing up nicely there. There are your crizzles. So is this only good for firewood, or could I take some off the belly and stick a belly lamination on there? Well, if only I had a nice strip of good yew heartwood, I could try that, couldn't I? Ah, what have we here? Well, this is what was sawn off that Austrian yew stave. A nice thin strip of heartwood. So you can see where I'm going with this, with my musing. I could try and refurbish the old hickory flight bow. Well, the other problem with this is it was supposedly a centre shot shoot through bow. That's not easy to say, but I was shooting it off the finger, and as the string slips off your fingers it sets the arrow waggling, and the arrow was smashing as it went through the window and trying to stick in my arm, and the whole thing was a nightmare. But of course now I've got that mechanical release aid I made earlier in the year, so I could enlarge that slightly, stick a decent brush rest on it, put a yew heartwood slat up the belly, try it with me magic release aid. There we are. A place for everything and everything in its place, or in my case, everything in a mess. But there you go, so that might give me something to do over the chilly winter days. Something else I've been doing whilst musing on flight arrows and flight bows. Here's one of my better flight arrows, and I found a video about aerodynamic testing of rockets, where they're talking about the centre of pressure, which is sort of the centre of wind resistance, if you like. So bigger fletchings give more pressure on the back end, and so on and so forth. So I tried the technique shown in the video, which is basically you tie a string around it and whirl it around your head. And if the string is further forward towards the tip than the centre of pressure, even by a tiny bit, the arrow will spin round, you know, on a sort of 5 foot length of string, and it'll actually go round, travel nose first. If you have the string further back, it'll end up flying vertically or backwards or anything you want. Anyway, at the end of the day, what I've found with this arrow, there are 3 points of balance There's the balance point, which was there, so you rest it on a sharp edge or your finger and it will balance. There's the centre of, which is the centre of gravity. There's the geometric centre, i.e. halfway along the arrow. And then there's the point where if you tie a string on it and whirl it round your head, it starts to fly nose first. And interestingly, that was there. I'm not quite sure what the conclusion is, but I think ideally that would be further back, or they should all be coincident or whatever. But it was one of those things, the more I thought about it, the more confused I got. And do you want it too stable? If you put massive great fins on it, it'll become lovely and stable, but of course it won't fly so far. So it's all about compromise. I wouldn't think I need to be much bigger on the fletchings. And that is, anyhow, who knows. Quite a pretty flight arrow though. The day glow yellow certainly helps when you're trying to find them when they're sort of 300 yards down range.